been my experience that early Gen Xers, born in the late 60s, early 70s, are a lot cooler, a lot more progressive, and have much more in common with millennials than the late Gen Xers do. Like Booty Judge, people born in the late 70s, early 80s. And you're probably thinking, like, what? That doesn't make any sense. By definition, late Gen Xers are closer to millennials, so wouldn't they therefore have more in common? For some of the pop culture things, that might be true, but but generally that hasn't been my experience. And I was just talking with a friend about this. I think there's two major reasons why. First of all is the early 90s recession. People forget about that because it is a long time ago and it was pretty brief, but for a couple of years there, those were those were dark times. So if you were just going into the workforce then and you had a hard time getting a decent job and you didn't know what your future was going to be like, or if you were crippled with student loan debt, I think there's that unifying theme with what so many of us millennials are struggling with. There's that, and then I think after that, for most of the 90s, if you were in your 20s, it was a peaceful time, relatively speaking. There were no international concerns, no wars. The economy was booming. In fact, it was probably the most peaceful time in relative history. So the best example I can give on this is the Kevin Smith movies. Just go watch Clerks or Mallrats or like Jay and Silent Bob. Those guys are freaking awesome. That is the best definition I can think of for someone that was in their 20s during the 90s. And then you contrast that with someone that was a young adult coming of age after 9/11. The mood of the country was a lot more conservative. It was a lot more paranoid because we were at war. So I think, and there's a lot more that get off my lawn vibe. And what pisses me off is it goes in both directions. I mean, it equally makes me mad that someone like Booty Judge, that he's actually conservative on many issues and he acts his age. That makes me angry. But then it just as much makes me angry when there's a headline calling him a millennial and then so many comments debunking, oh, he's Gen X, So, I feel like I need to set the record straight on this. And I'm the kind of guy, I have friends going from 20 to 70, okay? So, I know everybody, but I mean, by and large, like I said, friends that are around 50 are a lot cooler than friends that are around 35.